There's a kind of heartbreak the world never notices. Not the loud kind, not the messy kind, but the quiet one. The one carried by people who have been strong for too long. You're the one everyone relies on. The one who keeps going. The one who says, I'm fine, even when something inside you feels like it's slowly collapsing. And because you don't break loudly, no one sees the little cracks forming. No one hears the quiet tiredness beneath your smile. No one notices when your heart whispers, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. If you've been feeling tired in ways you can't explain, if you've been holding yourself together while gently falling apart inside, tonight, this message is for you. Because your heart has been trying to speak, and for the first time in a long time, you deserve to be heard. Strong people do not shatter. They dissolve slowly. Pieces of them slip away quietly, like sand falling through the spaces of fingers held too tight for too long. You don't collapse. You fade. You shrink into a version of yourself who feels distant, like a ghost of who you used to be. You show up in conversations, but your soul feels offline. You laugh at the right moments, but the laughter doesn't stay long. You wake up each morning already exhausted from the act of being okay. People think strength is a blessing, but no one talks about the burden it becomes when it's the only identity you're allowed to have. You're so strong. You always handle everything. You never fall apart. They say it with admiration, but you hear it as pressure, as expectation, as a reminder that you don't get to rest. You don't get to break. You don't get to be human. Today, we'll talk about the 7 quiet signs your heart is breaking, even when you look perfectly fine, and how to gently find your way back to the version of you who still knows softness. 1. You don't feel like yourself anymore. The scariest part about silent heartbreak isn't the pain. It's the disconnection. You wake up and something feels off. You can't name it, you can't explain it, you just feel unfamiliar to yourself. It's not sadness, it's not depression. It's like your soul stepped a few inches outside your body and forgot how to come back. Things you once loved now feel muted. Conversations feel heavy. Your laughter feels borrowed. Your joy feels dimmer. This happens when your heart has stayed strong longer than it was meant to. Strength is useful, but too much strength for too long disconnects you from softness. You begin to operate from survival mode, functioning instead of living, responding instead of feeling, enduring instead of experiencing. This new you isn't wrong. It's a protective version your heart created to help you survive the weight you've been carrying. But deep down, the real you is still there. Quiet, tired, waiting for the moment you finally let yourself rest. 2. You get irritated faster than before. Anger isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet frustration, a heaviness behind your sighs, a tightness in your jaw, a tension in your shoulders that never seems to leave. You snap faster now. You get annoyed over small things you used to ignore completely. This isn't because you've become a difficult person. It's because your emotional cup is full. Imagine you've been carrying a bucket of water for years. Every responsibility, every expectation, every time you said, I'm fine, added drops to that bucket. Now it's overflowing. Not because of big things, but because even a tiny drop makes the water spill. Irritation is not a personality flaw. It is a signal, a quiet alarm, a message from your heart that says, I've reached my limit. Strong people don't explode dramatically. They leak. Through impatience, through emotional exhaustion, through sudden waves of irritation that come from holding too much for too long. 3. Stillness feels unsafe. You keep moving, keep working, keep staying busy, because the moment things get quiet, the emotions you've been avoiding start knocking at the door. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. Silence becomes loud. Rest feels almost dangerous. You fill your schedule on purpose. You distract yourself with tasks, plans, responsibilities. Not because you love productivity, but because slowing down means you'll have to face the weight you've been carrying. People think you're responsible. People praise your discipline. But deep inside, you know the truth. You're not avoiding tasks. You're avoiding yourself. When your heart is breaking quietly, motion feels safer than reflection. Doing feels safer than feeling. But this constant movement is not strength. It's fear in disguise. Your heart is tired of running from its own truth. 4. You feel alone. Even when you're surrounded, you're in a room full of people. You laugh, you talk, you listen. But something inside you feels absent. It's not loneliness. It's emotional disconnection. Your heart is present physically, but distant emotionally. You look engaged, but inside, you feel like a quiet observer watching life happen from behind a glass window. This happens when your emotional energy is drained. Your heart can't hold connection when it's busy holding itself together. You can be loved and still feel untouched. You can be supported and still feel alone. Because loneliness isn't measured by who's around you. It's measured by whether your heart feels safe enough to open. Strong people isolate quietly, not because they want distance, but because they don't know how to let others in when they themselves feel hollow. 5. You carry hidden guilt for resting. One of the saddest signs your heart is breaking, quietly, is the guilt you feel for simply needing a break. You sit down to rest, and suddenly a voice whispers, "Other people can handle this. Why can't you? You're falling behind. You should be stronger than this." This guilt is not your truth. It's programming. It's the echo of a life where you were rewarded for endurance, not well-being. You've been strong for so long that rest feels like weakness, like failure, like you're letting people down. But rest is not a luxury. It's maintenance. It's medicine. It's what keeps the heart alive. If resting feels wrong to you, it means no one ever taught you that you're worthy of care even when you're not producing anything. 6. You feel numb instead of emotional. There comes a point when feeling too much for too long forces the heart to shut itself down. This numbness is misunderstood. People think it means you don't care. But numbness doesn't mean no emotion. It means too much emotion with nowhere to go. You stop reacting. You stop crying. You stop getting excited. You exist in a soft, quiet fog where everything feels distant and muted. This numbness is a survival mechanism. Your heart is saying, "I can't keep absorbing pain without a break." It's not a flaw. It's your system rebooting after years of holding in every emotion you never had space to feel. If you recognized yourself in these quiet signs, please remember this. You are not weak. You are not failing. You are not breaking the wrong way. You are breaking silently because that's the only way your heart learned to survive. But you deserve more than silent survival. You deserve gentleness. You deserve softness. You deserve to breathe without feeling guilty. Your strength has protected you for years. Now let gentleness heal you. Give yourself permission to slow down, to rest, to feel, to be human again. Your heart is tired, but it is still here, and it's ready to come back to life one quiet breath at a time.